Hello and welcome to another edition of Touchline. My name is George Addo Jnr. Like we do it every other weekend, we get to sit down, we get to discuss, we get to talk about what we saw during the week and, have a proper look to what's going to happen in the coming weekend and try to place some interesting perspectives on the topical issues. So without wasting my time, I'll be joined by my friends from the United Kingdom. Kofi Esikyire joins me. Kofi, I don't know what you're picking from. What are you picking? Anyways, everything's safe.
I was just trying to mute my TV. I was actually trying to mute my TV, Joyce.
Okay. I thought you were picking something, from the floor.
Oh no, I was just trying to mute the TV so it doesn't disturb us, bro.
Very good weekend as well for a very good week, I think, for Liverpool, right?
I think it has been a good midweek in the Champions League, but then was a disappointing draw over the weekend against Brighton. But then again, it's one of those things, in football sometimes, regardless of the form and the pace you pick, there are certain banana peels on your way that definitely would want to. And it's one of those things. It's good they bounce back against Atletico Madrid, a much bigger, stiffer position, and then they show that yes, probably was just a blip over the weekend. And then hopefully we see what comes up the weekend in London Stadium against West Ham.
Well, a man who loves his team so much, talking about what went through, I don't know. Josh Acquaye joins us from Manchester. Josh is a Manchester City fan these days. Is still under massive scrutiny, I should think. That's for a fact. But well, Josh, it's been some week for Manchester City. Good win against Club Rouge after a rather crazy start, and obviously losing to Crystal Palace and going down by a man.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's been a tough couple of days for Manchester City. I think that going out with the Carabao Cup to West Ham and also losing over the weekend, last weekend, to Crystal Palace at home wasn't really a good week. So it was important to get a win under their belt, and they did that against Club Brugge. It was expected. I mean, so it was just a routine win, and we are looking forward to the Manchester derby this weekend. Obviously, it's a massive game, and City will need to make a statement because they're already 5 points behind Chelsea, and so they need to keep up the pace with Chelsea. Otherwise, it could be 8 points by the time the weekend is over, getting into the international break.
Well, we'll see how it all goes. If you're watching us on Joy Prime, this game we spoke about has been played already, so not too sure where it happens. But whatever the case is, I think it's one that Chelsea are hoping to go stronger. They got the advantage right now, and they'll try and keep it. I was just checking the calendar. It will be a good time in January. I'll be in England. And Kofi, I think we'll watch that game together, Chelsea-Liverpool at Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, hopefully we should watch that game together. I'll be looking forward to that.
All right.
I'm expecting you here in January, December.
Yeah, of course. And there's some wonderful matchups there. I just had a good look at it. I had a good look at the calendar. Josh,
I'm going to see the Liverpool West Ham at the Olympic Stadium this weekend. I'm looking at that.
Okay, good.
So let's see what happens.
And I think, Josh, you've got a proper what should I say, maybe roller coaster ride. It's going to be full of emotions. Arsenal will play Man City. It's on the 28th or just at the end of the year or start of the new year. You ready for that?
I'm ready for that game. I'll actually be at the stadium for that game, so I'm looking forward to it. I think it's on the 3rd of January. So
3rd of January, yes, I think, right after the Chelsea Liverpool game. So we'll see what you do on the day.
We should do that together. If George is in town, we probably all three of us.
I'll probably be in their way end because, of course,
I see.
I'm a citizen these days. So.
We'll see how it all goes on the day, guys. I think we have to start from a rather unusual position, and I normally don't like to pitch the two players at each other, but it's because I like us to talk about Paris Saint-Germain and go at each other, with what we've got in there. But we have looked at the performances of Paris Saint-Germain in the last few weeks, last few days. Mauricio Pochettino, I thought we said on this call some time ago that he's not kind of the man. Based on what we have seen again in the past 6 days, Josh, is there more evidence to point to the fact that Pochettino is not the kind of guy, or is not the guy for Paris Saint-Germain?
Yeah, I think we've known this for a very long time, even before Messi came in. I think that you look at Paris Saint-Germain and Mauricio Pochettino so far, and clearly you can tell that when you watch their games, you can tell that they always get over the line because of the individual brilliance and the quality they have on that side. But you look at the team as a whole and how they play, and you want to see a style of play, you want to see a certain game plan to what they are trying to do, and you can't really see what they are trying to do. They are all over the place. They are a team that is not well coached, and so almost all the time they have to rely on the likes of Kylian Di Maria to come to the fore. Not so much Messi, because I think that even though you could add that the reason why Messi is struggling is because Pochettino is not really doing a great job so far. You can also say that maybe him leaving Barcelona after all these years, he's not really been able to settle and find himself at PSG and kick on from there. So it's been very difficult for Messi. But for Pochettino, I think that it's only a matter of time before he gets a sack at PSG, because I think that I watch them these days and you can't really tell. I mean, under Tuchel, even for a large part under Unai Emery, you could tell that there was a style of play, there was a system to how they played, and anytime they needed a big boy to step up, they stepped up. But under Pochettino, it's just individual brilliance. They are conceding goals at an alarming rate, and you just look at all those things, and I think that he's just not the man. And we have known this for a very long time. And I think that it's only a matter of time before he gets the sack.
Kofi, I'm not too sure what the owners are looking at. One or two managers have been lucky. We'll get to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer shortly. Talk about Antonio Conte. But what is it the owners of Paris Saint-Germain are really looking at here? They haven't quite pulled the trigger. Is there unavailability of guys to come and do the job? We know Zidane is also in the mix a bit, trying to look out for it. Or there is a genuine reason to want to stick with Pochettino and say, Pochettino quite simply needs more time.
I don't think going forward, or genuinely the City board or the handlers or the owners think that Pochettino would be the man for them in the longer term. I want to believe that they are still beating time, they are still marking time, because they feel that they are not enough or elite, coaches out there currently readily available to go get. We saw Antonio Conte, who probably was the most elite one available, recently just joining Tottenham last night. And Zidane has also made that assertion, or he has also showed interest in wanting to coach the French national team. So it's a reason why even United are still keeping Ole, because they don't seem to find someone out there to go in for. We've heard talks of the Ajax coach Ten Hag and all, but then I don't think PSG will be looking at going for him at the moment. They would want to grab a bigger fish. But for now, Pochettino seems to be lost at PSG. He doesn't seem to know what is going on. I think for me, Messi is struggling because Pochettino is not getting the right formation for him. He's not play him in the right roles, like we saw him play in Barcelona, the freedom in which he played with. There are a lot of that players in that PSG setup who like to play with freedom. Talk of Neymar, talk of Di Maria, even talk of Julian Draxler to some extent. So Messi is actually struggling to find that freedom to play, like we also in Barcelona. Then again, I want to believe that Messi somewhat is struggling again because he hasn't really come. He's not still out of that Barcelona shadow. He feels that everything still seems to be a dream for him at the moment. He still can't believe that he's not in the Barcelona staff. He's found himself in a new environment, new surroundings. So I think that's coupled with what Pochettino is doing currently as contributing to him struggling. But then Pochettino, trust me, I don't think would last end of the season with PSG. They might allow him to end the season, but then he won't be PSG coach from next season.
Well, it's amazing. Well, that's definitive. Let's see how it goes with that one. But maybe the final point on this one, just before we go, sometimes managers get the blame. Managers are obviously the guilty ones when the team is not playing. We understand that the club or the team is not playing as well as they're supposed to be. They don't look as drilled and that organized, clearly, when you see them playing on the pitch. But just really, how much is down to the players in the way they've gone about their business at Paris Saint-Germain as well? Because there have been some very good opportunities to score goals. They're not. Defending has been a problem as well. I mean, how much can we take away from Mauricio Pochettino and trying to blame him? Don't the players, have some guilt on their hands, right?
Oh, you'd want to look at the players as well, and I think that in his situation, he has to look at it as that the players have built him out a lot of times, because there have been days when you can clearly tell that there's nothing working for them, and players like Di Maria, Mbappe, and Co have showed up and scored the goals for them to win games. And obviously, yes, you talk about the defending. The defending sometimes has been very poor, has been very shocking. I think that he's still not found his best midfield. And for a club like PSG, if you haven't got your best combination of midfield that will be able to link between the defense and the attack, then you're going to struggle. And every time there's I mean, the personnel is always different. And when you have a player like Marco Verratti always out, it also causes a problem for you. And Kimpembe, for instance, is not looking as good as maybe we thought he would be. And so these are all issues there. They have problems with their left back situation. And sometimes Nuno Mendes plays well, sometimes he doesn't. They bring in maybe a Kezawa or something. It's not really worked for them. And so I think that all these okay.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, Josh, you were lost a bit in there. Thanks. And hopefully you don't go again, but good you're back. You are making your points clearly on the players and the blame they have to take.
Yeah, I was making a point about the players and the blame they have to take. And I think that certain players will have to look at themselves again. But yet again, you have to surely look at the manager. And I always say that when you have a team and one or two players are not really playing well, then you can probably look at those players and say that they need to up their game. But when you have a team where 7 to 8, 9 players are not really doing well, then you can clearly tell that there's a managerial problem there. And so I think that with the Pochettino situation, even though you want to say that, look, some of these players have very good quality and they should be doing better, obviously, I mean, there are lots of players in there who are underperforming. You look at Wijnaldum, who came in from Liverpool. He's not really had a very good time there. You look at Kimpembe, Tiloke, Kezawa, Nuno Mendes. All these players are not really playing well. Even Messi himself is not really playing well. You go to their midfield, Danilo and the likes. They're not really coming to the fore for PSG. And so I think that we still have to. It all goes down to the manager, and I think that it's only a matter of time before they get him out of the job, because they are really looking. I mean, they started the Champions League very on a an okay note, but so far they've managed to end up in second place at the moment with 2 games to go, and it doesn't look too good for them, even though they might be very strong in League One. I think that what the owners want is winning the Champions League, and at the moment it's not really going to script, and so it's only a matter of time before he gets the boot.
Well, it's important that we talk about this. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer managed to escape all the chaos by registering a good result against Spurs. And so we are back to it again with a lot of people saying, let's give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer time. This week, I had the chance to properly go through Alex Ferguson and what he was and what he had done for the club. And I would say before I ask you this question that I do not want to hear, and I think I have an attitude for anybody who tells me that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is just going through what Alex Ferguson went through. And it's a clarion call for those who love football to go and read about Alex Ferguson well. And you understand that Alex Ferguson took Aberdeen from nowhere to win the Scottish Cup, to win the Scottish League, to beat Bayern Munich in the Europe Cup Winners' Cup, and beat a Real Madrid team that was being coached by Alfredo Di Stefano. That's no joke. The man was on top of his European game before he joined Manchester United. So please, I don't want to hear that argument again. Make the point for me there, Kofi. Now that the guys are out of it, as you say, now that they're out of it, because Conte has been taken by Spurs, is that a win for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer then to stay in the job for longer?
I think he again gives him another chance. It gives him a breather to give himself a chance to, get his act together and then make a claim that he is the man for the job. That I think a lot of United fans are really tired about talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Even rival fans, to some extent, are really tired about talking of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Mind you, there will always be the banter there. But then I feel United fans have felt that Ole has hit the ceiling. It's time for him to go. Anytime his back seems to be against the wall, he comes out with an impressive win. Then everybody forgets. Then restarts, go back to factory settings. Then he pulls a string of bad performances and all. So I think Ole has been struggling at United. Everybody knows in terms of consistently giving United fans or the team good wins or good performances. We've seen a lot of times where Ronaldo this season has come to build them out. He scored all the goals they have scored in the Champions League, which is he scored in every single Champions League game, I should say, which is remarkable. That's Ronaldo at 37. You've always got to admire his thirst or his hunger for success, and he seemed to be the one pulling them, pulling the strings for them, coupled with Bruno. And it's really, really difficult for Manchester United. If probably Ronaldo should get injured right now, it will be very difficult for them. Marcus Rashford just returned from injury. We've seen Varane going back again to injury after being rushed, back. And what we heard was he's going for a month. And it's very difficult. Ole doesn't seem to be getting all the good things going his way. Yes, he would have a breather because Antonio Conte, who was touted to replace him, has gotten a job at Spurs. Again, the Ajax coach Ten Hag also doesn't. They are looking at poaching him, but then he also today released a statement that he's looking at annoying the elite clubs in Europe. That means he has a project with Ajax that he's actually trying to make sure he finishes. He has a mission
but annoying it's annoying them. Yes, he is
exactly. He's gone 20. He's gone how many games?
Yeah.
Almost 20 games on the road with only one defeat to Liverpool. That's impressive. We've seen him pick up some impressive wins and draws on the road in Europe, which it's difficult to come by. But then credit to him, he's really done a good job. It will be very difficult right now because Barcelona on the lookout for a coach. PSG probably also looking on the lookout for a coach, and Manchester United. So if he becomes available, I'm sure there will be a tug of war to see who can persuade him to join their camp. So it's really difficult. Ole should be really thanking his stars that currently there are not many options available to choose from, and then that would give him the chance to go again. But then we've heard a lot of things in the media this week surrounding his chances of staying beyond December, and I think he still has the backing of a lot of people in the United hierarchy. But then if the pressure still coming, if United are consistently pick up this unimpressive wins or unimpressive performances, then his head will be chopped off.
Everybody needs the kind of backend Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has. In fact, everybody needs the kind of God Ole Gunnar Solskjaer serves.
Obviously,
he's a living God. I mean, he's a true and living God, and he's doing the job for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So yeah, just to put this in there, we'll leave Manchester United with what they're going to do. But Josh, I was going to pick your thoughts on what they do at the moment, because it's clear that there's no manager waiting in the wings to take over the job. And so obviously Manchester United will have to go on with it. And I've heard as well, players need to show their attitude. In Ronaldo's exclusive interview he granted, to one of the right holders, he did indicate that the language, the body language of the boys, the kind of energy they're putting in, is just not working out. I know one or two of the boys also looking over their shoulder and said, but you don't run the game as much as you're supposed to do. He gets the goals anyway, and so it's a crazy run of games to come. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can produce the results at the end. You see him staying to the end of the season?
I think he will stay. I mean, for me, I was so convinced that after that 5-0 defeat to Liverpool, I thought he was gone. And the moment he didn't go and he stayed in the job, then currently I do feel that there's nothing that's going to sack Ole anymore, because I feel like the board or this whole situation has actually played into the hands of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because the main reason why he wasn't able to get sacked was because of the fact that they felt he had built this team from scratch. So they needed to give him an opportunity. And then they also felt that bringing in somebody like Antonio Conte would be going down the Jose Mourinho route again. And they didn't want somebody who would come in, win a couple of trophies, and then go or end sign maybe after 3 seasons, and then the person will go away, and then they will have to look for another manager. And so they do feel that Ole will still come good. And so everything else plays into the hands of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Kofi has already said it. I mean, there are not a lot of managers out there. Probably the only manager I could think of who is probably in the elite level is Zinedine Zidane. And we've also heard that he's not really interested in managing a club side at the moment. He's interested in taking the France job when Didier Deschamps eventually leaves the post. And so you look around them, and there are not a lot of options. And even if you want to bring in somebody like an Erik Ten Hag, he will have to start a new project because some of these players might not be good under him. And so even though United fans talk about the fact that they have a lot of very good players, I think that when you bring in a new manager, he will also have to get his own players on board. And so it's a whole lot. And I think that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to stay. He's going to end this season. Even though, yes, United might not win anything, they'll probably still be in the top four at the end of the season. They still have Ronaldo. You still get them over the line in certain games. And they'll do just fine. And rival fans, of course, will be happy. Manchester City fans will be happy that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still in the job.
I actually don't know whether it's good news or bad news if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still in the job, especially when it comes to the Manchester derbies and all of that. Well, it's fine. We'll just find out what happens there. But we have to talk about Antonio Conte. I actually tried as much to save the best for the last. Of course, it looks like we are pressing in on our time, but we need to talk about Antonio Conte. Antonio Conte, the former Chelsea man, is back in charge of Tottenham Hotspur. And you love the narrative, don't you? It's more of the former Chelsea man. The guy is a former Inter Milan coach, isn't he? Okay, but they go for the Chelsea one to try and put in there. So it's a former coach back at a rival club, and that is an interesting prospect to see what happens when Chelsea play against Spurs coming down. But we need to look at the prospects of this particular job and whether Antonio Conte can really get this job done, looking at the challenges that he faced. Josh, I think you remember, I had a little, maybe one-on-one or a go at Ramon Vega, the former Tottenham Hotspur player and legend. And I was pretty blunt on BBC 5 Live. And I told him, I think with Nuno, you finish out of the top 10. Now they got Nuno out, and it's Antonio Conte. Do you feel that Antonio Conte's ambition is enough to carry Tottenham Hotspur away from where they are now into proper Europe?
I don't think it's enough. I think that it's, first of all, I think that it's, for me, it's come as a surprise because who would have thought that Tottenham Hotspur will be replacing Jose Mourinho with Antonio Conte. I mean, some 5 years ago, nobody would have thought of Spurs hiring Jose Mourinho and Antonio Conte in that order. And so, yes, Conte has the ambition. He's won trophies wherever he goes. He's a top manager. He knows how to get a winning mentality into a group of players when you give him time. He did it at Inter Milan. When he came to Chelsea, he was able to do it. So I think that he's got a pedigree. He's got everything to make things happen for Tottenham Hotspur. But when you look at that Spurs squad, you can tell that in as much as you'd want to blame Nuno for some of the results and how he set the team up in certain games, you also have to look at the players. You have to look at the playing body, and it's not really that good. It's not a good enough team for Antonio Conte to be able to actually challenge for the title or get into that top four and get back into the Champions League very soon. I think that they will really need to back him maybe in the summer because the squad needs a lot of dressing. You look at that, the centre-back area, they have problems with defending. You look at their midfield, it's a bit light when you have the likes of Oliver Skip and Harry Winks and co playing games week in, week out. I mean, they need a bit more. They need a bit more than just Antonio Conte's passion. He might have the passion. He might be able to tweak a thing or two. He might be able to maybe start get Harry Kane to start firing again, and that would be good for Tottenham. They'll be able to win games that they might have lost under Nuno Espirito Santo. But I just think that he will also need some backing from the board because if he doesn't really get that money, that funding, and we saw it at Inter Milan, Conte needed funding. And when he wasn't getting the funding, there were problems at Inter, and he ended up leaving the club. And so you have to give him the backing because if you don't give him the backing, he will start to sulk. And when he starts sulking, then it becomes a whole messy situation. And then at the end of it all, it will end in a bad mess for Spurs. So I think that they need to back him. Otherwise, they can't do anything under him.
Kofi, I'm wondering how this marriage actually works, no matter how we try to patch it up. Josh made the two important points. Antonio Conte loves to work. He's got the passion. Antonio Conte wants to work with a leader who has that massive vision to try and want to get the job done. If it doesn't happen for him, he would have, and in turn, start fighting over and trying to make sure that the right thing is done. He's not quite gotten that. It doesn't look like he's going to get that from Daniel Levy. Do you think this marriage will work? Quite simply.
I think it is too early to assume or speculate that it's going to work brilliantly or not going to work. Antonio Conte is a serial winner. I think he's won 3 of the last 5 league titles he has contested in, from Chelsea and then to Inter Milan, and he has shown that he really wants to leave a mark or a legacy. He's a top man, like Josh rightly said. Has come back to England and also London, a city where he has stayed for a couple of years and knows his way around. Managing Tottenham Hotspur is obviously very difficult, very different from managing Chelsea. But then I don't think the Spurs team is an entirely bad side. It would be very unrealistic for Daniel Levy to put a target of top 4 to Antonio Conte at this moment. It's really unrealistic. But then, hey, he can always make a statement. He can pull a string of good performances and then use this season as a springboard or as a stepping stone to give it the league an assault probably next season. But then it's good to have Antonio Conte back in the league. That's another big manager in the league. Making how many 5, 6 top managers in the league. It's good for rivalry. It's good for competition. But does he have the necessary tools to work with? I think that sometimes it's not always about having the big names at your disposal. It's about making sure that the team you have understand what you want to implement, and they go out and implement it effectively. We've seen it happen with certain teams in England before. We've seen even Klopp do it to some extent with Liverpool when he joined in his early stages. So Conte, yes, will find it difficult, but I think he loves the challenge. If he didn't like it, he wouldn't have accepted. He rejected Spurs earlier in the after he left Inter Milan, but then for sitting down and thinking that, okay, let me go, knowing all the things that are happening in Spurs and still wanting to go, it means that yes, he's accepted the challenge. He fancies himself that he's going to do a very good job at the White Hart Lane. So it's a very dicey one. I think Daniel Levy this time would have no option than to pump in the money. He would really have to invest into the team. If you have Antonio Conte, that means that you should be ready to splash cash for him to work, because Antonio Conte loves to work with big names. So and Daniel Levy has got no option than to do it now. So then there will be the case of, would Harry Kane be persuaded to stay, having a big name manager and in your dugout? Would he persuade you to stay? Would he want you to stay? So it's a whole different. Would Antonio Conte attract top players? Once he's attracting top players, Harry Kane might want to stay longer for probably a year or 2 more. So it's a very open. It's a very open affair for Spurs at the moment. You can't point finger and say that he's going to succeed or he's going to fail at this moment. But then I think he joining the league is a very good one. Chelsea fans may not be too happy about it, but then I think Antonio Conte would always want to have a go at Chelsea, would always want to prove to Chelsea that, I'm back in the league, I made the champions, and it's just time I'm coming with a rival to give it back to you again. And it will be a good time. I'm really looking forward to seeing him and his team play this evening against Acquaye, and then we'll see what he can do.
Well, I think Chelsea fans don't really care today, but it'll be interesting. I think it's just it's going to be a feisty affair when Chelsea come up against Spurs for sure. I mean, that's one. Our time is up. Just that these days the time flies so much. As cold as it is in England for you guys, and as hot as it is here in Ghana, we try to mix it up. Yeah. See you guys soon in Accra. Josh, thank you very much for your time. And I guess you'll be going to the stadium to watch some more. I saw your pictures. I mean, you're enjoying yourself. That's good.
Yeah.
Good luck. Anytime.
Yeah, I'm enjoying myself as a citizen.
You need to carry the good luck like I do carry when I go watch games. Anyway, I had bad luck for a while, and then you get good luck. Kofi, thank you very much for your time as always. Great. From London, and we're looking forward to a fantastic weekend. Looking forward to the week to come, and more importantly, is the one that ushers us straight into the international break-in. Obviously, the Black Stars will be up on the cards, and these days the Ghana Premier League is all going good. Go and enjoy your football, and I hope that your teams win. It's been disastrous for football investors. I really hope that you can get back on the road and put your heads on, and that the clubs you support understand the business. It's not only on the pitch, but of course, in your pockets where it will be. I'm George Addo Jnr. 2 weeks next week with another lovely edition of the show. As always, be good.